Everybody, what's going on? I am Brian, host and creator of Brian Speaks On, and I'm back with another Brian Speaks On topic. It's been weeks, it's been a minute, it's been too long, far too long. It was kind of a purposeful thing for me not to make a video in a while because, in all honesty, everything was kind of redundant. You know, the things that have been going on and the topics and the issues that have been spoken about, and put out there in mass media. So for me, it was just kind of like a good chance to just get into some personal issues that I've been able to take care of and enrich myself with. I have been keeping up on the Speaks On page on Facebook, basically just posting things from links of other places on topics of discussion and stuff like that. But it's been a while since I made a video. For anybody that's been if anybody even cares or was wondering why, then it wasn't for any negative reason. Life has been good, and like I said, it just gave me the opportunity to just kind of focus on some stuff. I got some good reading in. I just finished this wonderful, life-altering, enlightening book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy. I so recommend that people get into that book and read it. And people of all backgrounds need to read that book. That should be curriculum learning. It really should be. But that's not what I wanted to talk about today. Like I said, everything's been kind of redundant lately. You got all this presidential race madness, circus, theatric stuff. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about the fascists of the GOP movement, things like that. So what I wanted to talk about was something that is probably my most favorite topic of discussion pretty much outright. And that is comic book movie geekdom. Those that know me know that's my thing. And the perfect opportunity of the perfect subject came up. And of course, me, I like to use a specific topic to broaden out into a bigger topic. And this topic is going to be Black Panther. And of course, we just had Civil War come out, amazing movie, top 5 CBM probably of all time. Definitely going to be a 2 to 3 visit, movie for me. And of course, the big anticipation for everybody, but especially for black people, was the debut of Black Panther. And he didn't disappoint. You got to give Marvel props for staying true to the regality of the character, the regal nobility of T'Challa, and just that king essence, that that aura that he projected was awesome. Everything, to the costume, mannerisms, the fighting, on point. So now, in the aftermath of the awesomeness of Civil War, we're going into the Phase 3 era of the Marvel movie universe. And for people that have been keeping up with that, that's basically the next lineup of movies that Marvel has that will be coming out within the next 5 years, which is just like from good to better to best to awesomeness, Black Panther is going to be getting his own solo project. And it's like with each passing day, the last few days, the news has just been getting better and better. It was already good in the sense that, we got Ryan Coogler to do this movie, to direct and write the script of the movie. For those unfamiliar with him, he's the young man that did Creed with Michael B. Jordan, which was a very, very critically acclaimed movie. Good movie. Awesome movie. And so black people all over the nation are like just basking in the happiness of getting an iconic black superhero, first of all. and then you throw in his own debut feature film, you know he's going to be the main character. He's not playing second fiddle to someone. He's not someone's sidekick. It's not going to be Black Panther featuring so-and-so, even though there will be, cameos and features of other Marvel, heroes and villains. But it's going to be undoubtedly his movie. And the more that you hear about what they're doing with the movie, the more hype that you get as a black person. Again, you have the main lead. Now you're starting to see what is probably right now the young black elite signing on to be into this movie. Lupita Nyong'o, Michael B. Jordan now is said to be a part of Black Panther, and the news just gets more and more, affirming and inspiring to see these actors wanting to jump on this project, having a director who is all about the essence of what this is supposed to be about and will represent it correctly, finally. And again, it's very inspirational. Now, of course, you have all of this happiness and joy of blackness, this celebration of African blackness and wonderment. Of course, there's always going to be a flip side, and as had happened with the debut of Finn in the latest installment of the Star Wars franchise, you saw the backlash of what can happen when you get a black lead character in an iconic, global wide phenomenon of a movie. You get a lot of backlash. You get a lot of backlash. Will we see that when it comes to Black Panther? Probably. If you're gonna bet, you should bet that way. You're gonna definitely see a lot of snarky, just under the surface racist rhetorical comments probably towards this movie from certain people, and you'll see all types of racially charged satirical jokes and memes and things of that nature that are going to be thrown at this movie, which is to be expected, especially as a black person. It's to be expected. It's not fair, it's not right, but that's not the reality we live in. So we just deal with the reality. And the reality is there's gonna be a lot of folks out there who are going to be just sick to their stomach. They're already sick to their stomach now, just this much. But the closer the movie comes to actually being a reality in the theaters, there's a good chance that you're just gonna see a lot of just unnecessary foolishness coming from a very hateful place in a lot of people's hearts and souls. I mean, this is the nation that 50 some odd percent of Republicans want to vote for somebody who's a xenophobic fascist. So I mean, could you expect any more? From an African comic book hero movie that's playing out within the entire spectrum of probably the greatest storyline arc ever created. Yeah, they're going to be hating. And which is fine, because there's going to be plenty of clapback memes and, you big bad or little mad memes. There's going to be all kinds of jokes, shot out there all across the board. And, so we welcome it. It's all good. Now, aside from the racial element, even though it's not completely aside from the racial element, we need to look at what this movie has the potential to be. Now, let me just, before I even go into that, let me give a PSA to the hoteps out there. Y'all need to relax too. All y'all hoteps out there need to relax. People understand that this movie is not going to, bring reconstruction to the hood. It is not going to put us on an equal playing field. It does not mean that, we have overcome and the hood will become the suburbs all of a sudden, and oppression has ended and stuff like. We understand that. We know that this movie will not do those things. But you know what? Neither did Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. That didn't do that for black people either. But you know what Guess Who's Coming to Dinner did do for black people? It presented for the first time a symbolic figure of dignity, class, and thespianism within the realm of acting from a black point of view. You had a black man who was considered equal, if not better, as a thespian in this field. So what this movie has the potential to do is to shatter a particular supremacist illusion painted by Hollywood that gives them the justification to continue to whitewash so much as it pertains to movies that cover any broad spectrum of culture outside of white culture. And I'm not just talking about black culture. You see it all. You're seeing it happening with Asian characters rampantly now too. So they have just as much of an equal gripe as it applies to whitewashing and being suppressed in Hollywood and being typecast and pigeonholed and stereotyped as people who are not of the cachet, of the gravitas of carrying a blockbuster mainstream movie. So it's not just us. But we're talking about Black Panther, so I'm going to speak mostly from the black perspective as it applies to this. Now again, this movie has the potential to shatter that illusion. It has the potential to show unequivocally that a black cast of a major blockbuster movie that covers all backgrounds, because this is a comic book movie. This is not a black movie. This is a comic book movie. So this is not something that is geared strictly to a particular demographic, outside of the fact that if you have to be, some form of fan of a comic character or heroes or just this type of stuff. But you could be from anywhere. This is not Soul Plane. So that being said, we're gonna see if the stereotype is true, or if we've just been lied to all these decades by Hollywood. We're gonna see if perhaps maybe y'all should have been making Gods of Egypt the way it was supposed to be made. Well, actually, I'm kind of glad y'all didn't, because you see how that movie bombed. So perhaps if you did cast all, actual real Egyptian people or Egyptian-looking representative people, we probably would have been falling under the stereotype. Oh, see? Tried to give y'all a movie and look what happened. So thank you for that. Thank you for shooting yourself in the foot as it applies to that. And, it makes me wonder too, on a humorous note. Imagine if this is a complete side note. Imagine if Will Smith had actually gone on ahead and signed up to be Neo in the Matrix. Imagine where we would have been by now. So you know what? I blame you, Will Smith. I blame you for turning down the ultimate opportunity to put us on the map correctly. Look how long it took for us to get our second shot. Will, that was very selfish of you, bro. You should have took the chance for us, for all of us. But that's okay, because now we got Black Panther, and and you're Deadshot, which is just as awesome. So anyway, my basic point is that you see how we're in 2016 and we're just being represented in a particular way outside of Michael Jackson's Remember the Time video correctly as African kings, queens, an African nation. And it took a comic book movie for us to get this shot. It's almost something that is hard to put into words as a black person, to see an opportunity to be portrayed correctly in cinema. And this goes back to the whole, the Hotep thing too. For all of you guys and girls that want to be mad, that want to try to pour water on this event as if it really doesn't mean much for black people, it's going to mean a whole lot to my kid to see someone who is in the image of her represented correctly in cinema. Because up until now, the only movie that she's had to look forward to was The Princess and the Frog. To see a princess portrayed correctly, somebody that looks like her, So stop thinking about strictly yourself in a particular, this doesn't have to just be for you. Look at your children. Look at the fact that they're going to get to see people like them on this stage, this grand of a stage, and it's not strictly about being black. It's about representing. It's about being who you are, and that being okay in this kind of genre, in this kind of global, scale. Like you don't have to not be African, or not represent who you are, and still be in this club. That means something. There's a symbolism to that, and it's powerful. So again, don't be so fixated on the fact that, oh well, again, this movie is not going to bring us out of middle class poverty, and it's not going to get us a seat at the table. And relax, it's a movie. A movie is not really supposed to do that. Supporting black businesses is supposed to do that. Building your own communities is supposed to do that. Being a participant as a parent in your school system is supposed to do that. Being an activist for change is supposed to do that. Being a volunteer in your community is supposed to do that. Becoming a business person and giving back to where you came from is supposed to do that. Now, is the movie being made, is it being executive produced by black people and from a black studio? No. And such is the reality. Doesn't mean that this isn't the beginning of that march toward that, though. You always got to have a starting point, and everything is not meant to come all at once. Such is the ability to appreciate the progression of things. So let's just appreciate this for what it is, and let's all meet up at the movies so we can all rock and show how we shine. And with that, I wish you all well, and I wish everybody of every background to go see this movie and appreciate the character of Black Panther, the storyline of the Black Panther for what he is, and don't feel like this is some form of affirmative action filmmaking. appreciate it the same way you would appreciate Captain America, the same way you would appreciate Batman, the same way we appreciate Captain America and Batman as black people. You know, support it. Support quality. Whether it be black or Asian, any form of not, if it's quality, it's quality. Just go and support it and, you know, be a comic book geek. This gives us all the opportunity to be in the same room, appreciating the same thing, but it also gives black people a sense of a certain kind of pride. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all good. You know, and with that, I'll see whoever I see in the theater. And even before that, go check out Doctor Strange too, because that's going to be crazy. And with that, I wish you all well. Wish us all blessings. Be good to each other. I think I just quoted Jerry Springer. Wow, crazy. Anyway, y'all stay up. Later. One.